What do Frosted Flakes, Ritz crackers, Wheat Thins, and Coffee Mate coffee creamer have in common? This is a video you'll want to stay tuned for. Welcome YouTube friends and family, and today we are going to talk about some foods that are banned in other countries but are still available to us in the US. So I do watch a lot of YouTube, and one of my favorite channels, it's huge, they will have no idea who I am, is Jolly. And these two fellers go around the world, they eat at 5-star Michelin restaurants, and they also will have things from other countries shipped in, I guess you would say, and then they will have high schoolers test it, taste it, give their opinion. And what was interesting to me was, well, they didn't have a lot of the same foods we have in the US over in the UK. And it just made me go down the rabbit hole of what's in our food really. Now, y'all know I do garden, I have my chickens for eggs, but I certainly buy things from the store. Now, I didn't have an example of every single item that's going to be on this list, but I was absolutely blown away by what the US is still permitting, where other countries have recognized it's not healthy. So let's start off with number 1, Skittles, Pop-Tarts, my personal favorite, Gatorade, don't like it, and Little Dubbies. They are actually banned in the European Union, in the EU, because they contain yellow number 5, yellow number 6, and red 40. So one of the videos I was watching, they were trying a lot of the like real colorful, sugary, sweetened cereal that is to attract, kids to want to buy it and eat it as well because it's pretty. And they were just exclaiming over all of the color, how it colored the milk, how fake and artificial it tasted. Now, I don't eat pre-sweetened cereal anymore. I do really like me some Fruit Loops, but that would be a banned one as well. So artificial colors can be harmful to our health. We all know that. Remember the red dye, a whole thing back in, I think that was in the 70s even. But it's especially detrimental to young children. And I have seen research that's been done as an RN where heavily dyed food can cause certain behaviors in children. And if you think about their, they have a little body size. It's really sad that we're pumping them full of colored chemicals. So, alas, no more Pop-Tarts, Skittles, Gatorade, or Little Dubbies for me. Now this one, guys, makes me really sad. I don't drink coffee every day. I don't always even have it for a week. But if I'm gonna have coffee, I need creamer in it. Well, a long time ago, I switched to powdered creamer because it's more shelf stable and I didn't have to worry, did I have half and half in the fridge? I don't like it sweet, I don't want it flavored. So when I saw Coffee Mate was on the list, and this is just Walmart's version of it, I'm like, why? They want you just to have all milk in your tea and coffee? But it's not just Coffee Mate. It is Ritz crackers, Pillsbury butter tasting biscuits, and they are now banned in Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Iceland, and Denmark. And why? Because of trans fats. So we know that a diet high in trans fats can lead to heart disease. And when you see partially hydrogenated blank oil, a lot of times it's soybean oil, that is considered a trans fat. And they actually are altering the fat by adding or removing, I forget which. It's either hydrogen or oxygen or both. But anyway, they changed the chemical composition. So they're playing with their food, guys. So I thought, well, let me just pull this out and see. Maybe Walmart doesn't have this. Oh, no. Ingredient number 1, corn syrup solids. Another suspect item that's being limited in other countries. Vegetable oil. Contains one or more of the following: palm kernel, hydrogenated coconut, soybean, sodium caseinate, dipotassium phosphate, mono and diglycerides, silicon dioxide, natural and artificial flavors, artificial color. So I've been putting a poison bomb in my coffee. You know, I hope when you walk away from this, you won't be like, I need to get rid of everything in my house. But I do hope it helps you understand that the closer we eat to the animal, less processed, and the earth, you know, vegetables grown organically, most likely the healthier we're going to be. So in case you're wondering why United States people tend to be heavier than other countries, I think that's a big portion of it. Excuse me, y'all. Me and my hiccups. Hold on. Right, moving on to the third thing that we still eat in the U.S., but is often banned in other countries. Wheat thins and frosted flakes. I like both of those. Now, like I said, I haven't eaten a pre-sweetened cereal in years and years, but those two items are banned in the UK, Japan, and parts of Europe because of BHT. If you've ever seen that on the ingredients label, it will say BHT added to preserve freshness is the way I've always seen it. Guys, this is really scary. It is also a flavor enhancer. So I think maybe the reason that it's in wheat crackers and not in generic Ritz crackers might have to do with the fact that wheat goes rancid, so it's preserving and keeping the freshness. I'm not sure on that, but I suspect. So I just grabbed out a couple, and I'm going to read those to you and just show you some things. I haven't been a good label reader. So in mice, BHT causes liver, thyroid, and kidney issues. It affects lung function and blood coagulation or clotting. And it's also a tumor promoter. Well, give me some of that BHT, United States. I mean, I just had no idea. So I was like, well, these came from Aldi. And they're the woven crackers instead of, I forget what the name brand. I bought the generic for so long. And I'm like, well, this is starting out good. Whole grain wheat, canola oil, TBHQ added to preserve freshness. And I'm like, what is TBHQ? Rabbit hole. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So this does not have BHT, but it has, what did I just call it? Oh my word, BHQ. Okay. So then I pulled up the Great Value crackers, comparable to Ritz. And this has, I need my reading glasses, guys. Enriched wheat flour, soybean oil, sugar, leavening, corn syrup, salt, natural flavor, and soy lecithin, which does not affect me. And there's so little soy in these that it doesn't seem to bother me. So actually, this would be a better solution, because I don't make my own crackers, than a wheat thin or a Ritz brand cracker. But this made me think, and I'm like, are they just like changing the name and slapping an 8 on the front of it or a T on the front of it? And as I continued to research, y'all, putting all these cancerous products out here. Okay, these are things I don't eat very often, but I have them. And y'all don't laugh. It's expired. This is instant mashed potatoes. And this is Great Values stovetop stuffing. So instant stuffing and instant mashed potatoes are banned in the UK, Japan, and some of the EU because they have BHA and BHT and QRS. I think the one that I couldn't find that was on the woven wheat crackers is possibly also in that category. So why? Well, they're thought to be carcinogenic and they actually hinder blood clotting. So I was thinking back to my days of, working in nursing jobs, and we had people that were on blood thinners because they were at high risk for a blood clot. And we had to do a pretty frequent clot time test on them. And it would just be all over the place, like all over the place. How many of these chemicals are adversely affecting our health because we don't even realize, because we don't have our reading glasses, what's actually in there, right? So I thought I would take a peek here. This has dehydrated potatoes, sodium acid pyrophosphate as a preservative, sodium bisulate preservative, citric acid preservative. So this is full of chemicals too. Now, why do I have this? I used to make a bread recipe that called for instant mashed potatoes. This came from our local food pantry. I've had it forever. Probably needs to be disposed of. I just eat potatoes if I'm gonna eat them. So then I was like, oh no, what about my Great Value stuffing mix? This has enriched wheat flour, degerminated yellow cornmeal, high fructose corn syrup, dried onions, salt, vegetable shortening, hydrolyzed corn gluten, yeast, dried celery, sugar, dried parsley, chicken fat, onion powder, vinegar, maltodextrin, soy lecithin, cornstarch, potassium chloride, disodium inosinate, okay, I'm probably saying that right, spices, and extracts. So this does not have the BHT or the BHA. So I would just say, look at the labels, and I think also looking as you can afford, because I don't buy everything organic. None of that is organic, right? Just try to stay as clean as you can with food additives. All right, the next item, y'all get this, bread with potassium bromate. Now, I make all my own bread for the most part. Occasionally I will, sorry guys, my apologies, y'all. Hiccups are bad today. Occasionally, I will buy Dave's Killer Bread. It is all organic. I did check the label because I have some, and it didn't have any potassium bromate in it. Why do they add that to bread? Because I'm like, what does it do? And it enhances the bread structure so that the bread will rise more. So, you're buying more air, I guess, in your bread. It decreases the baking time, and it also helps bleach out the ingredients so you get a nice white bread. It is associated with cancer, impairments to the nervous system, and kidney issues. And it is banned in the UK, Canada, and Purdue. That is Hanky Panky Frankie beating on the cabinet door because he's like, you're not paying attention to me, Mom. So let me take care of him. Say hi to the people. You look grumpy face. You look grumpy face. Okay, we'll put you down. Want a cat? He's really cute. Sheds like crazy. Always wants your attention. I love him to death. Okay, guys. The last two. American pork. And I'm like, well, that sounds prejudiced to me. But it's because of the growth hormones that are commonly used in the U.S. pork industry. Now, I probably will mispronounce this. Ractopamine. yeah, ractopamine is a growth hormone, and it is banned in numerous countries because of the ill effects on the body. And one of the places that it really impacts is your heart. It speeds up your heart. Now, I can't ever say, you know, I had a run of tachycardia, fast heartbeat, from a pork chop, but it does kind of give you pause, like, wow, if this is used widely in the US, but many other countries are banning it, what is it doing to our overall health? It concerns me greatly. So the last one, and this kind of made me a little more nauseous than I have already been. Okay, are you ready, guys? Chlorinated chicken. Wait, what? What? And I started to go down that rabbit hole. There is chlorine in a lot of our manufactured food products, but it is done to mitigate the spread of salmonella and other foodborne illness. And this is, of course, banned in the EU and the UK. And as I was reading this article, it was talking about one of the reasons it's banned is because it leads to unsanitary practices, because they're just like, well, the bleach will kill it. So who knew that they were soaking our chicken in chlorinated water? Ugh. So now that I've totally depressed you and you might want to empty some things out of your pantry, what can you take away from today's discussion? Stay tuned for some final thoughts. So hopefully this didn't send you into a complete panic, but it just made me aware that I am consuming some things that probably aren't the best for my health. So the more that I can grow, source locally, source organically, source from Azure, so source from like a local chicken farmer, if I'm gonna eat chicken, pig farmer that does not use growth hormones, right? So those are pretty easy, and maybe drink half and half instead of that powdered junk. Those are easy switches. And I think, you know, it's impossible to eat 100% clean all the time, but I think getting some of the chemicals out might be super helpful in my health journey. So one of the things that I struggle with, if you're new to the channel, is I do have systemic lupus. And I've had that for like 13 years. What I've learned is there is definitely 3 things that are going to cause me to have a flare-up. Lots of stress, not eating right, and not getting enough sleep, which is pretty much like every day. I shouldn't say that. But I wonder sometimes if some of these chemicals, lupus is when your body makes antibodies that turn around and attack your joints, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys. It can, right? So are those chemicals activating the antibody production? We don't really know because they haven't done a study of, you know, these are foods that do this, this, and this to people with lupus. There's a few, but not a lot. So as I was putting away my food items, I knocked over a box of Jello, which I got the Jello not because I'm a Jello lover or really even a Jello eater, but I like to make Jello molds for the channel sometimes. So I was like, oh, well, look at this, guys. This is the Jello brand, and it says no artificial sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup. Great, right? Well, it does have red 40 and blue number 1, which blue wasn't listed, but I'm like, great, it's even in our jiggly treats, right? So I think just being mindful, reading labels can go a long way to picking and choosing. As I said, sometimes the store brand does not contain the same additives and preservatives that the name brand does, so that's a good thing to look at. And just identify in your life, what's the low-hanging fruit? For me, coffee creamer, that's something I have on the regular that I could easily eliminate or change back to like a real milk product. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you haven't already, please do me a big favor and go ahead and smash that like button. Next week, I'll be sharing more about the 3 Rivers Challenge, some meal ideas, that type of thing, because I haven't meal planned for next week yet. so I have to do that, but I'll share what I have been doing. And who knows what else we'll get into. It's a little tough this time of the year, guys, because I can't do much outside with my gardening. So you may get more chatty videos, and I hope that's okay. I appreciate all the time you spend with me and your sweet and kind comments. So I will see you all, Lord willing, next week. If you're in the path of the upcoming snowstorm, New Englanders, sorry. my word. Stop it. Be safe. Be mindful. Make sure your pantries are stocked. If you're not participating in the challenge and you're doing regular shopping, get your gas filled up with go-go. Get your car filled up with go-go juice. All those good things. All right, guys. I will see you very soon. But until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.